Hello guys and welcome to the fourth week of the LAWC World Championship Candidates. I'm playing bwmtone, also known as the International Anti-Chess Federation president, a very tough guy from the US, also a nice human being. I lost to him in the third round of the Swiss stage, so I expect a tough match. Yeah, I also lost to him in Amsterdam last summer. It was my only loss. Yeah, so really here not sure after e6. E4 the problem was c4. At least he doesn't have something like e5. G6, I think it's a waste of tempi. But actually e4 he has d5. Maybe just knight e2. Okay, so he goes for that. I will also play g3. Knight d5 maybe, but just takes. I must be fine. Knight d5, so he will take with the pawn first. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, a bit of a gamble. Wait, he has rook e8, what did I do? Wait, no, I intended to take on e3 first. What am I doing? Yeah, rook h2, he was winning. Yeah. Terrible, terrible play there. Yeah, that was a bit unsportsmanship by me. But yeah, so I expected queen g7 instead of queen d7. So bishop d6, he has f4. Or should I just go b5, but I guess he'll just move the rook away. And then a3 is a threat. Yeah, bishop d6, f4. Is what I expect, so takes. What about f5? Mm, or actually, do I have g5, knight f6, king e7, rook d8? Uh, I'll try it. Oh yeah, actually he doesn't have a bishop from I have f6 and I win. This looks like winning for me, unless I blunder. So f6, then bishop h3, rook d8, knight c7, a5, b6. And like knight pawn, he attacks b7, f7. I have bishop d7. If he takes on b7, then I have knight c5. If he takes on f7, I have rook d8. Okay. Let's try the novel tc3. Let's see if he will play the main line with b5 and a6, which actually favors black. I don't know if there is still like this trick with d6. I don't think so, because I can also take on f7, I assume. And also, like, if I take on b7, then bishop b7, I have e4, bishop takes. Uh, yeah, this doesn't work now, I guess. Yeah, I think it doesn't work. I have bishop a6. Of course, he will take on b1. Rook d8, maybe I'll play a5. Mm, yeah, I'll play b5 regardless. Rook 8, rook d8 somewhere. I will sack everything. Then a4, bishop a3. Yeah, of course I remain with these scattered pawns here. I'm not really sure if it's good for me. Mm, f4, knight g4. I don't see it. Maybe rook h8 or, or rook g8. Either one of these two. At least I end up taking a protected pawn. Mm. Oh shoot, I almost ran out of time there. Looks like a draw to me. I don't want to have my king stuck in the corner because of the g6 pawn. That's why I sacked. Maybe rook h5. But I have rook promo. Yeah, that's a draw. Okay. Not a bad result, I guess. Mm, yeah. I couldn't keep the rook at the end and try to win. Okay, so it transposed um to like second move bishop d3 against the Polish. That's something I have played a lot against for. Mm, the problem is I usually go for knight e6, but after bishop e7, king e7, like d4 takes, and he's better. I don't have e6, I guess. Like e6 takes. Rook h4, king d2. I attack his king and the e3 pawn. I don't see it. I'm gonna give it a try, but really not sure. And if he pushes like f3 after rook h4, I just take the king. F3 like I take the king. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm down over on time. Maybe g4 to pin my bishop. Okay. Maybe should have tried. Um, yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm getting panicked. Yeah, he has 94. I missed that. Yeah, terrible game by me. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't expect h5 here. Hmm. I'm thinking about f4, but I don't know. don't know if that's any good, but maybe just something like queen b1, queen c2, queen a4, or what I was looking at. I don't know. At least, actually, I think when I look at queen b1 now, I think it's a mistake. Because now, wait, he takes my king. What did I do? But I'm winning this one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel so nervous when I play tone. It's every time. And my time management is not good at all. Let's see what he does against like c5, a5. It's yeah, it transposes. Um, d3 is the main move. Then b3, a4. Okay, but yeah. Again, I'm not entirely sure. Um, I don't know. Is it e6? Uh, like e6, he takes, I take again. Rook h4, queen h4, but this time king d1, queen f2, then I attack a2 and e3. Yeah, I don't see it. If I lose, I lose. I just don't see it. But now the problem of white is the a3 square. Okay, so he played something nice. I'll aim for knight c6 to get rid of the rook like that. Oh wait, I don't have it now. I need to be careful. I think rook a5 is the move. Um, and then eventually he can play the knight back and then block my isolated pawn. But he didn't do it. King e1, king g1 maybe. At least now I stop d4 to a certain extent. Like, yeah, I'll play knight c5, but then I'll play b4. King d6 would lead to nothing. I'm going for a draw. Maybe he will play for the window, but I don't see it. I would just, yeah, okay. Yeah, I would keep my knight on e7, so once he pushes e4, at least I can play knight f5, g6, and then just get rid of these doubled pawns. Let's try c4. Well, knight a6, what is this? Maybe he just tries to place me off theorem. and throw him off book. Rook a7 is what I expect. Hmm. Interesting. Maybe just knight a3. Maybe d5. Uh, no, I actually have g4 there. Never mind. No, I have to take with the pawn. Knight b5 would lead to d5 there. Um, Now I wouldn't say I like that too much for him. Maybe c5. f4 I have his bishop pinned, but actually e5. Then bishop a3 and I had nothing. Maybe just e6 and I don't know, something like e3 or like pushing the pawns on the king side. h4 expanding the advantage on the king side. I don't know, c5, knight c2, bishop c3, I take c4, I take. He has nothing actually. Yeah, this queen is just terrible here. Oh, what is this? It's something that I missed. I have no time. I'm not sure about king promo here. King promo, then I guess I also have to promote to a king. Knight c8. Uh, no, maybe I was safe there. Yeah, so basically I need a draw and I win the match. We play all 10 games because of the tie breaks. Yeah, okay, so this is a position I have played a lot actually. But after knight a3, I have always wondered what the most awkward move is. I think knight d7 so I can like make space for the rook once he plays knight b5. I'm really tempted by f5, I have to be honest. Like queen h5 doesn't work because I take like f3 and then I hit the b3 pawn. But the question is queen h5 I take like king d1, king e2, king d1 I just take and then I attack c2 and d2 also the bishop and they are all protected. Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I don't have much time. Yeah, and actually the if he sacks it on g4 I just take f3 takes and I really think that he will have some problems on his back rank. He really seems he really looks like stuck. Yeah, okay, so he sacks. Yeah, okay. I hope there aren't any intermediates. I also like also the f5 pawn really like hinders him from developing the bishop and also like pushing the pawn in the center. Okay. Now I believe I just have to play in the center. Oh yeah, wait. He missed that. Oh wait, his bishop h4 actually. Uh, but yeah, basically speaking, yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, alright. Two more. Hello, Leonardo. Welcome to the stream. Oh, he takes here. This is this annoying wine. Oh, I've really never checked how I'm supposed to play it. Yeah, and I always get outplayed in this one. I keep forgetting. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like bishop h6, but then I also have to sack my queen. And I actually think there is nothing else. Um, like knight d2 I should try to develop. Or like knight c3. No, knight c3 runs into bishop a4. So knight a3 takes, bishop b5 takes, a5 takes, and I attack the king and the pawn e6. I'm also a bit tempted to take with the bishop here, but he has bishop knight g4. No, I should take with the king. Yeah, I'm already worse. Yeah, okay, I missed that. Oh, this is sneaky g4 and queen b2. I'm wondering about e6. I don't see any reason why I can't play it. Um, at least g4, knight c4 doesn't work because the a4 pawn is protected. Yeah, that's what I expected actually. Mm, wait, this might be losing for him. Um, like knight c6, rook h6, knight d4. Unfortunately, I don't have bishop a6, bishop f1 because the a6 square is double covered. After that, yeah, knight c6 should beat. Um, wait a sec. Okay, yeah. Something like rook a7, I guess, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna make a separate recording for the analysis as I started doing. Mm, yeah, I'm gonna look at the games. Yeah, I think actually f5 might also be fine. Like g4, then rook h3 takes, knight takes, pawn takes. Of course, first d7. Uh, yeah, maybe I was much better, but yeah, you guys are gonna see that in the separate recording when I merge it with the games and after I put it on YouTube. Wait a second, I need to find the forum and just publish the result. Okay. Okay. Yeah, alright guys. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this was it for the stream for this match. I needed either a draw or a win to secure a place in the semifinals. Yeah, it turned out to be the best possible case in my opinion. So yeah, the last match I have TED, but it doesn't really matter how I will perform there because I'm already qualified. It will be just the place in the group, and then like it also depends on how the other players from the other group will perform. But yeah, okay guys, thank you very much for watching. Um, you see the entire video on YouTube after I also make the separate recording of the games when I analyze them. Until then, guys, see you, take care, and see you very soon. Bye bye. Hello, guys, and welcome to the analysis part of my anti-chess world championship match against bwmtone, my dear friend from the US, also the International Anti-Chess Federation president. I hope you enjoy the analysis, so let's get started. This is the last game we played, and he opened with e3. I played the Raven defense knight h6. We have bishop a6, pawn takes, and now a4. something I have faced many times. A couple of exchanges happen here. Yeah, this is something I have played a lot before. We have e6. I just try to get rid of my dark squared bishop because I can see that the knight on a3 is double protected by the rook and the queen. So we have e6, and also like I open up my queen, the diagonal for my queen. Yeah, we have h4, which is considered a blunder by Stockfish. I take the knight, rook takes, knight c6. Here, yeah, knight d4. According to Stockfish, I should have gone back, which makes sense because I threaten knight b5. Yeah, let's say that I play that, and let's say that white plays knight h3. Then after knight b5, ab, rook b8, very crucial move, rook a5, rook b5, rook b5, and this is winning for black. But yeah, I also thought that I have something after knight d4, c5, here rook h7, dc5, d6. And unfortunately, I lost on time here. Yeah, actually, here I didn't expect rook h7 first. I was thinking something like king d7 here in this case. Of course, he has to take on g6. Now, either with the king or the pawn. Otherwise, if he takes on h7, I just take the pawn, and now he has to take either the pawn or the rook, which are both unprotected, and I would win the game. But yeah, he surprised me with taking on h7 with the rook first. And yeah, after dc d6 cd, I lost on time. Okay, let's move on to the second game. I had the white pieces here and I played knight h3. We have e6, b4, and here I always forget that tone takes the pawn on g4 and not the bishop on d2. So yeah, here I will spend like half a minute trying to figure out what to play because I keep forgetting that I have to check this move when I play tone. But I played the obvious bishop h6, which I didn't like because I get rid of my most mobile pieces. And now, after some takes here, I end up with these rooks here, which don't have that many good squares, and also this awful bishop. So yeah, I could already see that I was much worse here. And I played king d2 with a hope of somehow getting rid of my awful bishop, my horrible bishop, but after b5, bishop b5, I missed the intermediate move, rook f8. And after, yeah, and I resigned here, but after bishop takes the king, we have rook takes the pawn, bishop takes, and now rook takes, and after rook takes, I win, I lose the game, and black wins the game, respectively. Yeah, here knight c6, and this is how black would win the game. Yeah, I completely missed rook f8 there. Okay, this time Tone opened with knight h3, which is kind of surprising because he usually opens with e3. Here we have a very common one against the knight h3 opening, but Tone plays the most annoying one. Yeah, here I have a couple of choices here. Of course, I know that queen d7 is the most common one, but yeah, I just don't like it. I really feel very stuck on the king side. That's why I prefer to sacrifice my king, but eventually to have this open diagonal for my queen here on the queen side. But yeah, after knight a3 Tone is kind of trying to provoke me to sack my queen, but it would be a very bad move because now he attacks the a7 pawn, and after I push it, it would be encountered by b4. Um, so yeah, that's why I played knight d7, which is the best move. And also like I try to also like queen c8. I just try to play on the open b5 after that, and also like wait for him to see what he's going to do. If he plays knight b5, yeah, I can just go rook d8, takes takes. Also he can take on a7, c6, and now my rook is stuck. So yeah, anyways, after knight d7, we have b3 by tone. I played f5, trying to get rid of his queen. Because, yeah, respectively, the way I had this diagonal e8, a4 diagonal, he also has this diagonal d1, h5 for his queen. So I kind of also tried to provoke him to get rid of his queen, which he did. Of course, I could see here that I wasn't losing, even though my queen has a lot of free space and controls a lot of squares. Yeah, here just developing my knight in the center, and after bishop b2, I think he forgot about rook b8. The thing is that now here his rook ends up being a losing cannon. Uh, yeah, and after all these pawn sacrifices, I won the game. Okay, let's move on. Now I have the white pieces, and I opened up with c4. He played knight a6, which really surprised me. I played b4. I didn't really know what to do, to be honest. But yeah, I just decided to open up the queen side and sacrifice some pieces. Yeah, I don't have a direct win here. Knight a3, the idea is just to pin his bishop and to prevent him from developing these pawns in the center, preventing him from pushing them. Basically, we have b5, bishop a6. Here I didn't really like it that much, to be honest, because his queen is now more or less out of the game. It has no squares. So instead he decided to play on the king side. I played f4, also like kinda trying to prevent him from having this right to play on the king side. Because after e5, of course, he can take my knight. I saw that, but also I wasn't sure which side is better, to be honest. Like after e6, king c1 leads to nothing. Um, Maybe I would have gone for knight h3, so I can now prepare king c1 e3, knight f4, rook g1. Yeah, anyways, but instead he went for g5, which I don't think is a good move because he's he's stuck. All of his pieces are on their starting position, so he had to find a way to do something. He played bishop g7, which I didn't kind of expect. I played h4, trying to make some room for my rook and also expand this pawn advantage on the king side. He played e6. Yeah, I saw this move, but I wasn't sure how to proceed. So I played g6. I saw that it doesn't lose. And after a couple of exchanges, now I played king c1, preparing king b2, and then knight f3, knight h4. But yeah, of course, he saw that and sacked his bishop. We have g3. Yeah, here I was after e5. I thought that I had to sacrifice these pieces in the center because I was really afraid of king b7 and knight c8 at some point. And also if I push the a7 pawn respectively, I was afraid of king b8. So yeah, we have the sacrifice, g4, c5. He didn't bother to sacrifice his knight back. We have a7, e2, and after knight f2 he missed mate in 6. Obviously the move was king b8. Actually, he ran out of time. Yeah, but king b8 would be a winning move for him because whatever I promote to, I just basically lose the game. Queen prom, of course, d6. Knight prom, I attack d7 and c5 after that. Bishop promo, he has just d6 and he has a couple of moves to decide what to play. And king, of course, knight c8. Here, now knight promo, king d7, knight d3, f6, knight c5, f5. Wins for him, but unfortunately he ran out of time, so I won the game. Okay, so in this game I have the black pieces and it ended in a draw. I responded with a Polish against his e3. He played bishop d3. He avoided his opening the Morrison attack with knight a3. And here we have transposed bishop d3 response to the Polish. It's just the same. It's just the same position. Yeah, and here d3 turns out to be made in 15 for me, but I didn't see it. I responded to e6 because I could see that he over controls the a3 square with his bishop and his knight, but the problem is that after king d7 he could also comfortably just play bishop a3, bishop takes, knight takes. After b5 he attacks d7, d6 and c7, which I double attack by my double control by my king and my queen. And also after rook h4, after actually I have king d6. Yeah, so maybe he had to sack his rook first on h6, let's say, and after this one I had nothing. But instead he decided to sacrifice his rook on h4. Now he played a3, and here after b6, yeah, I kind of thought that it was a bit better for him because he could try to block my pawn with his knight by playing it back to b1 and then to a3. But he played knight a2 instead, which I kind of don't like because now I can sacrifice my bishop, and also like my pawn can run against his knight on the b file. But yeah, instead he played knight g3, and we have a couple of exchanges: king e1, b5, d4. Here I could see that I didn't have anything after knight c5, d6, and king d6. These pawns are just scattered on both sides of the board. So even if after like I push b4, pawn takes my knight b3, I have nothing. I still remain with these pawns, and what is more, they are doubled. So I could feel that I would probably lose the game. So yeah, that's why I didn't go for king d6 after knight c5, but instead I went for b4. He played bishop a3, ba3. I offered to draw and he accepted. Okay, so here we have a game where I opened up with e3 and he responded with knight c6, which I kinda didn't expect. I'm following the Watkins here, a4, e5, pawn takes, which is considered a blunder according to the engine, but that's what Watkins suggested at least before. Now, if we go to Tolia's website, um, we have a bit of a different refutation of the e3 knight c6 opening. But anyways, here I wasn't sure what to play. I could see that he attacks the a3 pawn, and I played g5 also to try to involve also his queen in the action. Yeah, here are some blunders. Yeah, here I was basically losing the game, but after queen b4, I don't know why he played it, to be honest. Maybe he oversaw that I can also take the pawn on e6. I have no idea, but I would have maybe gone for something like queen d2, but I'm really not sure. No, this wins too for white. Oh, c5 actually. Yeah, c5, dc d6, takes. Yeah. Oh, that would be very nasty. Yeah, he just waits for me to push the d pawn and then he sacrifices his rook. Wow. But yeah, queen b4 I took, and after a5 here, he's not fast enough to move the bishop away and play rook b8. Yeah, he played c6 and I won the game because he stalemated me. Here we have a game where I again responded with a Polish defense against his e3, but I lost. So let's see what happened. Again, he transposes to the bishop d3 while avoiding his opening, the opening that is scored after him. Yeah, so here instead of going for a5, I went for the h5, something that I used to play a lot, and I keep playing, but I haven't faced bishop d3 in a very long time against the Polish. Here after e6, it turns out that it's made in 11 for my dear opponent. He had to play king d1 and then just push the a pawn. Yeah, now all three pieces I hit are not protected, so this would be a win for him, but instead he went for the mild knight e2, which just develops his knight. I decided to push a pawn in the center, d5, also trying to um, make some space for my bishop, but the problem is that after bishop d7 he has b4, and now I attack the b5 square with both my knight and my bishop, and there would be no way I could prevent that. So that's why I didn't go for bishop d7 but went for the developing move knight e7 instead. We have some other developing moves, and after f5 I completely forgot about knight e4 here. I only looked at g4, but also I didn't have much time, so yeah, that kind of explains the problem here. Yeah, after knight e4 I have to resign because after I take the knight he has this one. Yeah, okay. Here we have a game which ended in a draw, and I opened with a4. We have c5, c3, the novelty I faced for the first time in my um, first candidates match this year. Yeah, I really didn't know what to play. Yeah, here it looks like I get some pawn advantage on the queen side, and also I push b5 with the hope of playing against his rook, but of course he has enough time to move it away. Yeah, here I have no idea how I managed to survive this one. Maybe his pawns were just far behind compared to mine, so I had some chances to punish him. Yeah, but all the way from here it's already a draw. I decided to try to surprise him, but of course after bishop prom I have nothing. And if he had promoted to a king, I would try to win with king d1. His king is stuck in the on the edge, and this is a typical pattern in the rook and a king against a king endgame, which eventually I'm gonna show in my anti-chess education series at some point. Yeah, okay. We have again the Polish against his e3, but this time he went for the Morrison attack, the opening he has named after him. Yeah, queen g4, rook h8, and here I was prepared for queen g7 and knight b4, but he surprised me by taking the pawn on d7. So I kind of had to decide on the spot what to play. We have king f1, bishop d6, but here I could see that after a couple of giveaways and after rook d8 I was winning the game. Yeah, nothing very specific to say here, just f4 was the crucial blunder for white. Yeah. Okay, and this is the first game we played, and respectively the last one I'm gonna go through in this video. We have e3, b6, bishop a6, and not the typical queen f3 which I started playing against the layer that defends against a3. We have bishop a6, knight a6, queen h5, c5, standard stuff. Yeah, here I played that against Kex in Amsterdam in 2022. Yeah, g6, knight a2, just developing g3. My my plan was to position my knight in the center on c3, but that's why I prevented him from sacking his white squared bishop on h3 by pushing g3, because after I play knight c3 I double control the d5 square. Of course, now after knight e7 he does the same. a6, knight d5. Yeah, I could see here that after he takes with the knight, my e3 pawn is double guarded by my bishop and my d2 pawn. And here I really panicked. I didn't know what to play, and I went for rook f1, which I knew was losing. Actually, after bishop a3, he has nothing. This is actually a great position in my opinion for white. Maybe slightly worse because this rook is a bit out of the game, and also black controls a lot more space compared to me, compared to white, basically. But I played rook f1 here, rook e8, and here my idea was to play d takes, but just I was so panicked and I just totally forgot my thoughts, and I took on h7, which completely loses the game now. Of course, if I had taken the with the pawn on e3 again, I would lose. But after d5 we have pawn takes, rook takes here, and after rook a6, unfortunately, he lost on time. The winning move for him would be rook h2. I have to take on h6. Um, yeah, and here rook, bishop g4, rook takes. Um, yeah, basically, I don't know, rook e2 maybe, and then d4 is a draw actually. Uh, so maybe he shouldn't sacrifice the rook. Oh yeah, of course, rook b2. Yeah. Yeah, now his king, yeah, is coming closer to the G pawn. But yeah, unfortunately for him, I fucked him, which I'm really sorry about that. I'm really sorry for that. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, this was it for the analysis part as well against Tone. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I will try to make them a bit shorter. Um, so you don't have to watch that much time. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and provide your comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching and see you very soon. Bye bye, take care.